Hello and welcome back to Fail Your Parents Breaking the Rules. This is Bio Enchanted and today we'll be doing the final level. Well, of the main levels, of course.
Some milk, perhaps, to strengthen my bones. Yeah! I got you good, Timmy. Please don't do that. What are you doing here? Your babysitter is my big sister, silly. I know that. But why are you here? Because I love you, of course. And I'll always be here for you. And anyway, I had to walk Vicky's dog, Doidle, today. I love dogs. I'm gonna get one of my own. Tootie! Yeah.
Are you okay, hon? We heard barfing noises. So we came to watch.
Hey, you guys can't interfere with true love, right? That's one of the rules.
That's right.
So, can you tell if Tootie really does love me? It's a sickening thought that I'd like to put behind me.
It's possible, hon, but I doubt it. Kids tend to be in love with their pets and their parents until they grow up. And their godparents, of course, especially if they're as lovable as me.
Well, that's a relief, I guess. Now, back to that milk.
If everything's okay, we'll go back to our bowl. Yeah, I was in the middle of some serious swimming. I think there's some parts of the bowl I haven't even seen yet.
Twerp. Hi, Vicky. Tootie said she scared you good. Timmy Turner's scared of my little sister. It's only natural to be afraid of your family, Vicky. Most people agree that avoiding you is sensible. Oh, that is so not true. We're very popular, especially me. You're so irritating. It's my job to make sure you earn your overinflated babysitting money. You annoy me so much. Why can't you be easy to babysit? I wish you were as easy and fun to take care of as my lovely doggy Doidle. Oh no, when will I learn? Even if Vicky doesn't know she has magic powers, she's too dangerous to mess with. Woof. Timmy? Where? Oh, a sweet little puppy. Hello? Hello? I'm Tootie. What's your name? Woof Woof. I'm on my way to the mall, little doggy. Would you like to come with me? Woof Woof. I'm gonna call you Timmy, after my soon-to-be boyfriend. You can be my doggy. We'll be together always, I promise. I love you so much. Don't run away. Come back.
Well, hello there, little fellow. I hear the pet store is looking for fine animals like yourself.
So much whining in that little moment, it's really annoying. One mild thing I do like with this game is the little title cards. That's fairly cute. The idea that each of these is meant to be an episode.
But we're not doing anything, Sugar Lump. I'm exploring. Hey, where'd Timmy go? Let's go find him. I'll hone in on his familiar Timminess.
Woof, 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 woof.
Oh, this isn't Timmy. It's an adorable little puppy dog. But wait. Look at him. Isn't there something Timmy-ish about him? Now that you mention it, there's only one thing as adorable as this dog, and that's Timmy. Or a monkey. I love monkeys.
Woof.
And Timmy's been a dog before. Oh, dear. I have a bad feeling about this. Look, Lollipop, I had an idea that other time Timmy was a dog, and I poofed this up, just in case. Ooh, that's impressive, Sweetums. What does it do?
Cosmo Wanda, you've got to help. Hey, that's my voice.
Oh, my. It's a doggy translator. You're my hero, sweetie. Yeah, I know.
Well, what are you waiting for? I wish I was a human again.
Sorry, hon, but something's wrong. I don't think we're that short on power. Maybe someone is in love with the Timmy dog. We can't use magic to interfere with true love.
Oh, no. I bet it's Tootie, Vicky's little sister. She said she loved me, so I ran away and got captured and sold to this pet store.
Then we have to convince her not to love you, which might be difficult because you're so cute.
So you can't turn me back into human unless I make Tootie fall out of love with me. Also, I have to escape the pet store and the whole mall. What a horrible situation.
Let's escape and we'll think about how to make you unlovable as we go. We should shave all your fur off. Then you'd be bald. Yeah, but you'd be ugly. Well, all ideas are useful, dear. You keep trying.
Wanda, don't be a bitch. He came up with a translator. That's pretty cool. I think the idea might be the translator supposed to be the collar.
Being a dog, hon. You should try stuff and do what a dog does.
You mean like like sniffing other dogs' butts? Yuck!
I meant like jumping and looking around for useful stuff.
I mean, like, given that he gets captured by an animal control guy, which shouldn't have happened if he already had a collar on at the time, given that is generally an owned dog that's just in the neighborhood, you know,
Only guide dogs allowed.
they might just not want to actually change the,
I'm gonna love you forever.
they might just not want to change the character model between the moments. Yeah, Tootie has a really annoying squeaky run, and I really don't like it. His first series is a little confusing because it's like a big spoked kind of a thing. So it can be kind of hard to work out which path you haven't been down if you end up going in circles a little.
Free to go. Fetch.
I'm gonna catch you, and then I'll keep you with me always.
Yikes.
I kind of like the music though, it's pretty cute. But yeah, I think the original idea was Timmy was probably not supposed to have a collar at first, and then Cosmo would give him a doggy translator, and well done Cosmo, that was a really... it was like when the idiot character was given the chance to be actually kind of intelligent for a change. Give them a little bit of a break from being the idiot. You know, it's always fun, that, and the whole doggy translator thing does that fairly well, in my opinion. So it makes Cosmo more than just the idiot. He comes up with an unusual solution to something, but it's a solution that works. And here's where we get a little bit turned around. We only have like one more star to find around here. And it could be at any one of these spokes, I just need to figure out which one it actually is. Don't L2 is chasing me in completely the wrong direction right now. I think if she catches you, it does get annoying, but yeah. Luckily, it gives you plenty of leeway, though.
Whoa, careful, little feller.
Wow, it's a smelly dog. Ah!
Yeah, these corridors all look alike, which makes it kind of a nightmare to find the last star. Here we are back at where Tootie was when she spawned, so it's like, yeah, it's just a big loop. It's very easy to get completely turned around in. This level's kind of one of the more annoying ones to navigate for a variety of reasons, this being one of them. There we are, it finally showed up. It went down the right corner this time. And here's the actual exit of the level as well, or level of this little area.
It's the only way to go.
It's weird that the shafts have arrows on them, but yeah. It helps you work out where to go, so I'm not against it completely.
Cosmo, the gadget.
Too dark to see past here. What am I gonna do?
Make a wish, Timmy. We can't make you human because Tootie is in love with your doggy form, but we can do other stuff.
Okay then. I need to be able to see in the dark.
There you go, puppy. We've given you doggy night vision. Hey, your eyes glow. It's actually kind of scary. You got one slightly tuned wish star.
So time to explore now, this little area. And happily these next few areas don't include 2D, it's just pure platforming, so that's fine. I'm just checking around to make sure there's nothing in other directions first. And here we are back at the beginning and there aren't, so it's time to move on. Kinda like the music though, it's a cute level. It's just not particularly interesting. It's got some attempts at being kind of neat, but it's got a few things that it's trying. But for the most part, partially because of how chill the music is, and the fact that the areas often look looking very similar to themselves. Like a lot of areas look like they're just kind of copied and pasted aspects to get to them. The whole level, as a result, just doesn't really have much of a personality to it. Just a very generic looking mall with some really strange video gamey things. And of course these events now have fans to avoid as well. Not particularly difficult to avoid, but they're there. And they all kind of converge into the same place anyway. It doesn't really matter what route you take. There's no secrets or anything in the vents or anything like that. They just kind of all converge here. I do kind of like that when Timmy first becomes the dog. And he has that little moment where he's just like, left. It's just that little, like, the transformation noise is kind of cute. I kind of like that. Although the whining, when he first caught by a dog catcher, goes on for far too long. Doesn't need to go on until it completely fades out, or it could at least fade it out a bit quicker. Because overall that part seems a little annoying. And here's some really difficult platforming to do. Difficult when we actually activate it, because it requires very, very specific jumps. But first, let's actually activate them once I've got this card, shall we?
Yes, you found a Crimson Chin card! Don't chew it!
Well, we go to this very simple but annoying to navigate room, though.
We'll escape somehow, or my name isn't Cosmo T. Kirk! But your name isn't Cosmo T. Kirk!
But yeah, here's where things get annoying, because the platforming for this dog is very awkward. His jumps are very strange, and it's hard to get a handle on his height because of the fact that he's on all fours. It makes it kind of very... His jump arcs is generally a bit odd and hard to compensate for. So this takes a bit. So in the meantime, I actually got playing another interesting PS2 game recently over the last week or so. Mark Echo's Getting Up, which is actually fairly interesting. It actually has like an actual ending as well, unlike a lot of those kind of PS2 games where it's clearly trying to start a franchise and failing. But while it does have a sequel hook, in that the main villain at the end of it's all like, oh well, if you kill me you'll never know, who's really pulling the strings kind of a thing. It doesn't really matter who's pulling the strings beyond her, because it's like, all the main villains of that particular game do get their comeuppance, so it's not like a character escapes because you don't know all the details. It's just like, nah, that's just for a whole separate arc if that character felt like being explored further. That would just be what the next adventure would be, him finding out the next stage of the conspiracy. But as it was, the mayor gets, all of the characters from the mayor to his henchmen all get dealt with in some way by the end of the game, and so it feels fairly satisfying as an ending goes. Which is better than a lot of PS2 games that completely just kind of stop because they're all like, oh, I know we're doing a series. And it's just like, yeah, but you didn't sell well enough to make another one, sorry. Have fun having half a story. I'm looking at you, 13. That was annoying, I finally made it only to slip off. But yeah, this is a really hard jump to make because of the weird distance. It's a very specific distance. It's like, basically the furthest you can possibly jump, essentially. It's like this is the maximum jump distance, so you absolutely have to be perfect. It's really annoying trying to get there. Doesn't take too much longer though. That works out the trick is the corners, roughly. But yeah, Makoko's Getting Up is pretty interesting. It's got some neat level design, a lot of variety in how you actually do the graffiti and things, and just generally it's got a lot of charm to it. The cutscenes are very avant-garde, but in a very interesting way. I recommend checking it out. It's got a lot of clunkiness to it, of course, it's an old PS2 game, but it's still fairly interesting, and I had fun with it. Even if some of the graffiti parts towards the end do get quite difficult because of how they expand the challenges. I think we're nearly done with this stupid room now. This is the only really bad jump in the whole rest of the game. Because after this, the jumps become much more reasonable. There we go. Now let's finish this room. There we are.
The floor moves so we don't have to. It's not all fun, hon.
This place isn't designed for dogs. I'll have to time when I dash into those presses.
Apparently this mall actually manufactures dishwashers. That's weird. Normally they're just a wholesaler. I'm not sure how American malls work. Maybe American malls make their own products, but So as far as I'm aware, malls are generally, at least in England, they're wholesalers. They're collections of other shops that generally just kind of sell what they can license, essentially. Like, you know, it's like someone buys a lot in the shop, and then that's the shop, what that shop sells, based on what business that person happens to own, sort of thing. Like a Granger Games might buy a lot in Meadow Hall, for example, and be selling those video games, that sort of stuff. But it's like, I don't know if some American malls do like individuals. Certainly there's a lot of artisans. Well, not a lot. There's a few artisans as well. But mass producing stuff in the mall like this is very kind of a weird middle ground. It's not an artisan store thing, and it's not even like, this mall isn't like, is it like owned by the manufacturer of white goods? Is it like is it a licensed mall owned entirely by like the guy that makes these things? Is that what's happening here?
Left, right. Oh, just pick one to chase. Ah, it's a silly dog.
And maybe it's a Honda mall that just kind of started expanding and never stopped. I don't know. Oh, she got stuck in a corner. That's always fun.
This is no place for dogs.
Let's just remind myself which direction we actually need to go in there. That was going back, so let's go back forward, shall we? Along this little luggage conveyor thing, bench. And here's where the mall gets weird.
Oh, puppy.
Don't call me puppy.
What are you gonna wish for, Fido?
Don't call me that either. I'm still Timmy.
We need some way to quickly search them all.
I know. I wish I could fly.
This is so cute. When you jump and then jump again, your little tail will spin. You can use it to hover for short periods. Try it.
Well, I guess wings would look weird on a dog.
And here's a very weird mechanic. It's cute though, and it works better than the jump in the jetpack, rather, because you can actually cut it off mid-jump.
Don't worry about falling off.
I think.
Don't worry. Only guide.
Yeah, I end up in the food court because we're apparently in the flying hedge maze. You know, like all malls have. I mean, I know I enjoy getting a burger from the stand in Meadow Hall and hanging out at its giant floating hedge maze. That's certainly a thing that most places have. It's like the Hanging Gardens of Pasadena. Pasadena? I was thinking like the only American city I could think of at the time, which was one from Big Bang Theory, but like the Hanging Gardens of Dimsdale. There we are. I had a bit of a brain fart on cities there. One good kind of like those hedges on walls. You can actually just get invisible walls. I mean, you can actually just jump on them and skip most of the maze thing. I was making sure as well that I haven't missed anything, and I haven't, so let's move on. So that's a big room. A lot of potential for hiding things.
Hold on, Wanda. I might have a plan.
I might have a plan too. Then again, it could be dandruff.
There's a health and beauty salon beyond the food court. With mud baths.
Oh, good idea, hon. Let's go there. The food court, my favorite part of the mall. The salon isn't far from here.
I'll throw myself in the mud baths and make myself disgusting. Nothing can stop me now. Timmy, there you are, you very bad, very cute little dog. Come to Timmy. I guess I barked too soon.
They do realise, the writers of this game, that mud baths are especially treated kind of mud for making your skin nicer. It's not just jumping in a puddle from the garden. If anything, it'd come out of it looking even nicer for 2D, honestly. His skin would be all, fur probably be a lot smoother after.
This is no place for dogs. Don't spend too long catching a star when Tooty's on your tail.
I'm gonna catch.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing people want in a spa, isn't it? I know, let's go to the spa for the mud bath, because I want to turn myself into a pile of garbage. That's why people go to a mud bath, isn't it? It's like Shrek.
Good doggy.
Here's that little dead end we're approaching. We just need to get another star, though.
A dog!
Well, then we're getting our nails done as well.
dogs.
So let's complete the circuit and get back there, shall we?
Dogs allowed.
I'm gonna catch you, and then I'll keep you with me always.
Whoa, careful, little feller.
But yeah, it's very easy to get turned around here, even though it's just a big loop, because it's very samey looking.
Ew.
But at least it's a small area.
Wow, it's a smelly dog. You wish. Think, doggy brain.
I'll try. Maybe we could tunnel into the salon.
Good idea. I wish that my doggy digging power was superhuman. Super canine.
You can't dig through the floor here. You'll have to find something softer. Look for pink flowers in pots. That's the place to dig.
I want to concentrate on making Tootie love me less, but all I can think about is finding a bone to bury.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I want super digging powers. Oh, but you can't dig here. That's not...
Smelly dog.
I mean, we didn't think it'd be wanting super digging powers. No, we can't have you digging through, like, linoleum. Nah.
We're in the salon.
Good work, Timmy. To the mud bath.
These are apparent, like... These aren't flowers. These are apparently my mushrooms. Because clearly we're tunneling through the micellar here.
Woof, woof.
I mean, this whole mall is just kind of like, it's like,
Nobody around or under.
there's a massive, like, colony of flowers buried underneath the whole complex. For, you know, it's like... So yeah, FYI, mushrooms are kind of like ant colonies in that they're not individual things. They're like one big organism that has a bunch of little bud things popping up around the area. Those buds are the actual mushroom parts. Of course, where the spores are and everything like that, that's the reproductive parts. But everything under the soil is actually interconnected like a massive ant colony of roots, though, instead of actual things, like the small surface level roots. I just thought that was interesting. I actually first learned about that because I looked up the etymology of the mycelium because of the Medusoid mycelium from the Unfortunate Event series. That's what kind of nerd I am. I was like, ooh, I wonder where the mycelium thing comes from in mushrooms, and I looked it up and I was like, oh, cool. These are some really weird chairs for these kind of like hair salon area. Like when they happen to try and when people come to get their hair done, you have to get the ladder. So I'm sorry, baby, one that's only 3 feet high is taken. You have to go for the 6 foot high bench. What's even going on there? It's strange. Very strange. So let's head to another event, shall we? And now some beds. That's interesting. Worryingly wobbly beds. You just slide right out of these, wouldn't you? It's like the Wallace and Gromit bed. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe it's actually a thing for strengthening your back muscles. You have to try and stay in the bed without being flopped out of it. You just have to keep maneuvering your muscles in such a way that you're keeping yourself perfectly balanced while lying on it. Maybe that said, it's not actually a salon, it's actually a gym. And that font on the duct windows really throws me off because it looks like a Z instead of an L. So it reads more like Z Salon because of the very over-exaggerated serif on the L there. The serif is way too big. It's like it's trying to compensate for something. Yeah, this animation takes forever. I do kind of like that you can actually, from this point on, you can actually see the next room through the windows. That's the neat thing. And I think also the music has actually evolved as well. We're actually hearing slightly different music to the beginning of the level, and I quite like that. That's interesting. Like before, it was just a little kind of like the bassline thing, and now we're getting this extra little melody to it as well. With like a vocal to deal with the whole beauty salon kind of aesthetic. Which is interesting, and I hadn't really noticed before. Yeah, these chairs are also very weirdly wobbly as well. I'd be terrified to sit in one of those higher ones. I'd be falling out of it, waiting for my hair to get done. And the smell from the open vent must be terrible as well. Oh, and there's our final Crimson Chin card for the level. Hopping across these lilos.
Yes, you found a Crimson Chin! Careful, hon! Those puddles look slippery! Don't butt in!
Yeah, but we can avoid them. Because we have a jump button. Wouldn't that be kind of the point, though? Jump in to smell awful so she doesn't want us anymore, you know? It's like, that's a plan. You can have a plan there. The whole video gaming nature of this game is very weird, because here we have the actual mud baths, but for some reason, jumping in these mud baths here would actually kill us. They are molten mud baths. I mean, yeah, I want to go to the spa so I can have a mud bath that will scald my skin off. That'll be fun. That sounds like a relaxing day out. You know what I want to be today? Pampered, have my hair done, and be flayed alive. That sounds like an enjoyable day out. And here we are at the end of the level. So double check for anything in this little alcove behind us, because it's very weird that we're facing away from the actual thing here. Got a very weird camera there, but this is the actual end of the level now.
Where are you? Here's Timmy! What's the matter? Don't you love me? Ugh, that puppy's all filthy! Woof woof! Stop or I woof! Oh no! Good doggy! Ah, you horrible dog! I don't love you! You're a bad, dirty little dog! Woof!
Oh, good job, puppy! So, let's see if it works.
I wish I was human! All back to normal! Yeah! I'm me again!
Little pink hat and everything. I guess even love can be foiled by an effective smear campaign.
Wonder it wasn't that funny. You didn't have to get 2 pills left of your own joke. That's pathetic. But now we're done with the last main level of the game. And we've all got all the Crimson Chin cards as well, so there's only one thing left to do. Which we'll be doing in the next video, of course. Because this was long enough. So there is the portal to the final boss. So, join me next time as we go deal with that. Goodbye.